and help out that way. So if anybody that's on the call or the Zoom or in the classroom has a question that wants to start, it'd be perfect to get this kicked off. So I think Bob's actually in class here, so Bob's going to ask a question. So go ahead, Bob.
So I appreciate the other day you gave me your 2020. Asked me to customize it, but first one down, it'll say one card. This is one, and then it says EX. I wanted to know what the EX was.
Okay, so Bob's asking. So we were doing like a little lead generation question the other day, and I was helping Bob basically focus on who he's calling. So I gave him a copy of my 2020 daily sheet that I like to do. So one of my lead generation things is 20 contacts a day, and it has your line. So Bob's asking, so I have one card on here, which is send a handwritten card, and then it says EXEX. So that's extra. So what happens is I have extra spots on every one of these, say lead generation categories. So what I do is if let's just say if I send 2 cards out, I'll write the names of who I sent it out. So that qualifies as 2 rather than just put 1 on every single one. So basically, like right now, FSBOs are almost impossible and expires are impossible because they're not there. So I'm basically, rather than change the sheet every day, the extra spots were 5 new. Instead of doing three expireds, I'll just fill in, 6, 7, and 8 for the new prospecting, so it counts. So I can always keep one sheet. Any other questions on that?
No, thank you.
Right, that's what the extras are. So you brought up the fact that I asked you to customize it. So the reason I asked Bob to customize his 20 contacts per day, and this conversation came up because he said he's making calls, and I immediately jumped to who you call, because a lot of times we'll have new agents and people that are supposed to be lead generation. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm making calls. Who you calling? Because sometimes it's more important on who you're calling than the actual calls you're making. And that's what the sheet actually helps you with. So I told Bob to customize the sheet to his grain, is the way I like to put it, because I'm me, Bob's him, and Holly's her, and Pat's another person. So each one of us are different, I don't say species, but different people. I'll door knock somebody's door in a half a second, or I will stop somebody from raking their leaves and saying, hey, you're selling your house. That's me. Bob might be different. Pat might be different. Holly might be different. So create the lead generation sheet to your liking is why I asked them to customize it, because if you're not going to be that person that's going to call FSBOs, then take FSBOs off there and put more social media spaces, or I want to say, not say post, because that is not considered prospecting. It's when you're asking for business and asking the questions when it's considered prospecting. So Bob, change that sheet to your liking that you're going to fill out, and it goes with your grain and not mine. That make sense? Any questions on that one?
So just to reiterate, what you're saying is you do 20 contacts a day, meaning having a conversation, whether it's via text message, social media, or face-to-face, asking for business. That's what your 20 contacts are.
Yes, and I try not to do it like just like say general post. So if I write the name down, it's usually a direct email, a direct message, text message, voicemail, or like I said, I consider prospecting, not just, hey, I'm selling houses today and media, call me. That's
right. So you're actually asking for business.
Yes, that's actually asking for business. And it can be fast. I mean, you could do your 20 contacts, and I did it in fast as 35 minutes. Going through Facebook comments or text messages from, I'll say, the previous days, following up.
Okay.
So, and the biggest one on here, so if anybody has any questions on there, biggest one on here for growth is business to business. So I have 2 spots on there for business to business. So that is basically somebody that's either referred you business or you referred business. So I'm touching 2 people that are referral partners or possible referral partners in the future. That is the fastest growth that me and the team has ever had by concentrating on that business to business, because there's literally, I gave Keisha my phone book the other day. There's somebody out there that has a business that you can reach out to today that can possibly change your business tomorrow. Who is it? For me, it's different because the way I reciprocate business is very, very, what's it called? Referral based. Like, so my mechanic, he's literally gave me 7 transactions last year, and I probably gave him 17, I want to say clients in the past year, referrals. My flooring guy, 4 transactions last year he gave me. I probably gave him 10, flooring jobs. So that business to business, like I can reach out to any of them, like I said, mechanic or floor guy, but there's a million of them, and agents don't think as well as they should as referring businesses and reciprocating that back. So just imagine if you gave your roofer, a local roofer, or your local uncle that might own a dry cleaning company or whoever it is, multiple referrals in the next, 12 months, what can that do for your business? It could possibly bring business to you. So that's what you got to think. So that business to business in a daily lead generation thing is huge for growing your referral business. Okay. All right. Any questions on that?
Yeah, Jason.
Yeah.
Does anybody else have a question before I go?
I had a question. Jason,
Holly.
what is your script like when you're first contacting a business?
So just as anybody that is in a business, whether it's an entrepreneur or whether it's a local retail business, everybody's looking for growth. So what I would like to do is I would like to add you to my local area specialist list. And they kind of go, what's that? Say, so during whether it's a buyer or a seller, I'm giving people business. So if somebody's moving out of town, they might need a new hairdresser or they might need a new auto mechanic. So give me an example of a business that you would be having this conversation with.
Let's just say a flooring person.
Okay, flooring person. So during the process of selling houses or even purchasing properties, I always give recommendations. So I have this local area specialist list that has everybody from an auto mechanic to a hairdresser to I need a flooring guy and I want you to be my flooring guy. So can I count on you? Is it okay for me to add you to my local area specialist list so I can hand this to my buyers and sellers during the process of a real estate transaction? And they'll go, absolutely. Well, here's my card. And if I can leave any cards either in your facility or if you ever have a needs to recommend a real estate agent, because I know sometimes people call you because they're redoing their floors because they want to sell, correct? And they go, yeah, that happens sometime. Well, I would like to be a referral partner as well as I'm going to put you down as my local area specialist for flooring.
And that's the key. You see how Jason said and explained what he does? A lot of people ask people to go on their vendors list just because, hey, this is what I do for a living and I want to be able to give people to, use you as a reference and give people to you for your services, but they don't take the next step and say, and all that I'm asking in return is that you're going to also know people when they come in to get flooring, they might talk about, hey, they're getting ready to sell their house. That you give me an at-bat for that. We were, get into business with each other and refer business to each other. A lot of people stop at that piece. You have to make sure you say that. And I'm going to tell you why, because that's what I did. I didn't ask for the business in return. I just was like giving. And I realized, people weren't giving me results back. And so I had to say, okay, why? What am I doing wrong? I wasn't asking for it. And people will not give it to you if you don't ask. So you've got to let them know your intentions. My intentions is I want to help you, but I want you to help me as well. There's nothing wrong with that. That's what business to business is. So make sure you don't forget the second part. I think a lot of us forget the second part. And that's not the only slow one in the bunch, I'm not sure. But I always was trying to help others, but not necessarily ask for myself. And when people would buy houses, I'd say to my vendor, how come you never give me any leads? I'm throwing you this, I'm giving you a phone here. And they'd say, well, I didn't know, you didn't ask. And so, that was not.
And Holly, here's a good one too. Sometimes you can actually get businesses to reach out to you. For one, you could do a Facebook post and say, hey, I'm looking for a new flooring guy to grow in 2021 for my local referral partner. Also, if you have Google on your phone or Google Maps to where you've been in the past, I want to say 60 to 90 days. What you do is you go to them businesses that you frequent, whether it's a hair salon or a dry cleaner or insurance company, and go on and give them a review, whether it's on TripAdvisor or whether it's on Google, and put that out there. Hey, I've been using these guys for years. They're great, blah, 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 unbelievable customer service. And what happens is sometimes the next time you're in there or that manager or person that you split up will reach out to you. So, and then you can say, well, I'm in business also. If you can refer me to anybody, I would love to be a referral partner, or people that you've actually referred in the past, give them a review online, and you'll be very surprised how fast somebody wants to reciprocate back to you, whether it's a review or whether it's a referral or whether it's even championing you on Facebook. As you can see, sometimes I'm overwhelmingly championing people that are local area specialists on Facebook, and it helps. So that's another part of that business to business that just ties everything together. That makes sense. Well, what else we got? Next question. All right, so does anybody have any boundaries that they think they don't want to leap over? Like I know me and Bob were talking about expires and FSBOs. That's a boundary for a lot of people. And then what's the trying to think of the other topic we had for scripts. No, when you're given a script and you're getting opposite. Objections. Well, so if anybody has any objections or that they want to hear, or any things that their clients or buyers or anybody has given them, they've had a bad response or don't know how to react, you guys can ask that question. So barriers and objections. If anybody has anything we want to talk about that, or any question on how to help them grow. What do we got? Don't be shy, people.
So I put a question in the chat. How am I going to get my buyers under contract in this market?
That's a tough one because I just went up against 19 competitive offers in a Delaware deal. My biggest thing was communication. There's still agents out there that are sending offers and not communicating well enough on what gets the deal done. So of course, if you can get that seller's agent on the phone and ask what's most important of the seller, which is whether sometimes it's settlement date, sometimes it's contingencies, sometimes it could be the contents in the house. So finding out, asking questions as much as possible to find out what the seller, I want to say, is their tipping point or what they're looking for. And then another thing is to pay attention also is, so appraisals are starting to get some they're starting to come back as undervalue, and they're not as, I want to say, as lenient as they were. So one of the things also to think about is to have that, hopefully your buyer is cash heavy, so they can cover the closing costs rather than escalate the price. So let's just use round numbers. It's a $200,000 property and somebody's offering $225,000. So that's $25,000 over ask. So instead of doing $25,000 over ask, offer $210,000 and then cover the first, and then cover the transfer tax for the title company. I'm sorry, 1% transfer tax, and then cover some other fees that the seller might incur to try to get get them the same net, but not escalate the price, if that makes sense. So that's another way, but that is still a conversation that has to happen with the seller's agent. So the seller's agent understands, because there is a lot of new people in this game, and they might not understand that unless it's verbally explained by line item on the fee sheet that their net is the same, and this is the reason why. Because my buyers are covering 1% transfer tax. My buyers are covering the extra, I want to say, fees that could possibly come up, so you don't have to escalate the price. That's one thing. Any other questions on Walford, Pat?
I wanted to jump in on that. It's Steph Hall. Having some listings in this market really helps to see how creative people are getting. And one thing I saw was that, you can't just really throw a number out there and hope that it sticks, like what Jason's saying. But I've seen a lot of, we will pay, $5,000 over maybe what it actually appraises for. So maybe offering that if your client doesn't have a ton of cash there. And then the other thing, as far as the follow-up, that's so important, especially as a listing agent. If you're getting like 19 offers and staying organized, the constant check-in and make sure your offer is seen, it's presented, and making sure that all the documents are in one email. Because I see sometimes a lot of agents just keep forwarding over several emails, and sometimes you just don't have time for that, or things get missed that way. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
May I add one more comment? So I had an offer accepted and I wasn't the best offer. And the reason why is that I called the agent and I actually got into a relationship with the agent through the process. This is not in my area, so it's not an agent that I knew, But I had the conversation and I talked with her. I jokingly said, you and I both know that, you know, who the agent is matters whether you're going to get this transaction to the table, you know, who the lender is. So and she agreed, and we had these conversations on and off. So it ended up, she chose our offer because of me and the lender, and not necessarily because of the price. So getting in a relationship with that agent is important.
Yeah, that's why we had this conversation a couple masterminds ago about camaraderie in the industry, and making sure that if you're responding to some of these, you know, even if the KW behind the scenes, the agent Delco, the other blogs that are out there, or Facebooks that are out there. There's Chester County coming soon, and agent Delco. I'm sorry, Chester County agent and coming soon. You know, engaging in social media with these agents, and being I don't want to say friendly, but you know, getting that relationship going is huge for multiple offer situations. Pat, as you know, if you know you have a good reputation and you close deals, and other people don't have that camaraderie out there, you know, you're going to be the winning person all the time. And that's, we know, this just came up the other day because somebody looked at a fee sheet and thought I was getting more commission because their buyer is the one that brought it up. It's like, hey, I think the fee sheet looks like Gizzi's got more money than you. And the agent called me and says, hey, I don't ever expected this from you, but what's up? And I said, hey, here's exactly what's going on. She goes, oh, you did give me a heads up on that. So I'm covering the fees on something else, and of course getting it back. Long story, but the agent knew that I didn't have the reputation to do that. So be careful taking more commissions on the sell side of a transaction, because it will hurt you in the future from buyer's agents. Whole other subject. All right, what else we got? No questions? No barriers?
So I know that quite a few agents are frustrated, is the word that they use in this market. You know, you're running with buyers, you're up against so many other offers. We talked about maybe how to set your client apart, but what are you doing to get listings? And how important would you say listings are in somebody's real estate career?
I mean, listings are huge, especially in you guys, every real estate agent right now is feeling the struggle as far as being, finding houses that are for their buyers, as well as fighting for multiple offers and writing contracts for 5 or 6 times to get your buyers under contracts. It is horrible. So listings are so much easier. I mean, my listing, I think I have 19 listings coming up, 3 this week, 3 in the beginning of the month. And I was sitting low for a little while because I was going through some personal stuff, but I'm back on. So listings are the name of the game. If you can get the listings, it's way easier. They're way easier to sell, especially in today's market. But you have to set yourself, let's say, above the rest of the people that are calling. So me and Bob were talking the other day, and the norm is, he's going after FSBOs, or old expireds. And the phone calls ain't going to happen, and the letters are not going to happen. So if you know that a property hasn't sold and somebody wanted to sell it a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, show up, send a letter. Like, I got a listing yesterday in Seacane. I heard that they were going to be selling the property in the next 12 months. I literally drove by, stood out front, and here's a great one, because this is no bullshit excuse on this one, because it's free. So send out cards, you can sign up for a free account, you pay as you go. Okay, so I took a picture with the house in the background, click, sent it right there, pulled over, said it's good as gone with a Gizzi sign on your lawn. Okay, so there's my writing, there's me, there's the house in the background. Said, hey, I would love to have the opportunity to talk about selling your property. Please give me a call. Here's my information. I sent it. So I took a picture and sent a custom card with that house in the background. Within probably 90 seconds, they got it. They called me 3 months later and said, we got your card. Great little advertising technique. And that got me a listing. So me driving by the property and spending $3.21 on my free send out cards account got me a $275,000 listing. That is doing something different. And we all have send out cards. You can download it to your phone, sign up for a free app or a free account, and you can send a card out.
A lot of us have AM cards too.
Huh?
Same thing.
AM cards too. So you can do either one of them. So that's just one little thing. And then, if you are having transactions, so the contractual agreement for a listing ends at settlement. So if you have sold any houses as the buyer's agent in any of these neighborhoods or any of your past, say, transactions or listings, you should be going after that community aggressively. So if let's just use Holly, for example. Holly, if you had a buyer's that you settled on a property in Cranebridge, Brookhaven, that little development in the last 6 months or 12 months, you should be going to that little Cambridge 3-block radius and marketing and say, hey, I sold a property at 123 Cambridge Road. I have more buyers. Are you considering listing? And now for the next 12 months, please give me a call. Is that letters? Is that cards? Is that door knocking? Or is it hitting the neighborhood? Like I remember somebody laughed at some signage I was putting out. I was switching a sign on social media. Hey, switching a rider out. And somebody made a comment, oh, you're still switching your own signs out? Well, I listed 75 homes last year. The year before that, I listed 100 homes. I can't tell you how many of the listings came from me going out, switching a for sale sign out. And it's funny, that guy listed 30 homes. That was making a comment about me switching my own signs out. Because when I'm out there, if I see somebody raking their leaves, and this is me being real, hey, is that the guy that's selling his house right there? And the guy goes, no, that lady's selling it over there. Well, what did I just find out? I just found out that that lady's going to be selling her house just by asking the guy that's raking his leaves or putting his trash out. I'm not saying I'm bullshit, but I think that lady was selling her house. Is that the house? And the guy that's raking the leaves or the lady that's walking their dog, she's like, no, they're selling. Like in the next 6 months, I heard. But I'm looking at an opportunity now for a $790,000 house just because I followed up on somebody that I said, hey, I remember you saying you were going to sell your house in the next year or so. Are you still considering that? He goes, no, but my neighbor's going to be selling. Here's her contact information. So there's another one for listings. And just doing above and beyond as far as, of course, everybody's making phone calls. Of course, everybody's, possibly sending emails, but just doing a little extra with some cards or stopping in or handwritten card in the mailbox. So that stuff works.
Do you guys know about the golden letter? It's funny, I now remember I have my license 25 years now. One of the things I was first taught was to send out a golden letter. And Caitlin, just recently, she had buyers. They wanted to live in a specific neighborhood. Now, it's a townhouse development. I forget which one. Willistown, Willistown Woods, one of them. And they said, we want to live in this neighborhood. Our friends live in there. And Kate was like, well, there's nothing available. So we talked about the golden letter. She sent the letter out. And all it says is, dear neighbor, or, if that's what you put, dear neighbor, I have buyers that are ready, willing, and able to buy in your neighborhood. Are you interested in selling? Or do you know anybody that's interested in selling? Signed, Caitlin Krezi, Keller Williams Media. She got a guy that called her. She put her buyers under contract with him. She got another call. She went on that listing appointment. They have to do a couple things. In 3 weeks, she'll be listing that. So 2 listings out of a letter. Is it always going to work? No. But if we don't put enough fishing poles or put fishing lines in the pond, we're not going to catch any fish, right? So it's, if you have buyers that you're absolutely going crazy with, they want to live in a neighborhood and you keep getting missing, one after another, go find the listing for them. Send letters to the street they want to be on. Send letters to the neighborhood they want to be on. It could work, right? And it's only a few bucks to send a letter, guys. It's not much money, so it's worth it. And the price range Kate was in was $369, something like that. So she got 2 listings for 1 letter. Well worth the money.
Yeah,
So,
I got a listing appointment in next Thursday because I met somebody's sister. Somebody's like, oh, it's my sister, blah, blah, blah. Well, I knew the last name. I looked up their first name, went on went on Trend, public records, found her address, said, hey, it was a pleasure meeting you, blah, blah, blah. Hopefully see you at the next family event. And then she, now she's connecting me with somebody to list the property. So, that little extra effort of me, you guys haven't got handwritten cards for me, but I do handwritten cards, and I do this little wax seal that has Gizzi on it. I like the little wax seal, it just adds an extra touch, and somebody always makes a comment on it. If you follow me on Facebook, you'll see I do the wax seals, and somebody always goes, "That's cool. I ain't seen nobody do a wax seal in 50 years or something like that." But that little, we're talking about when you have somebody that puts their hand up, that's possibly listed. You can't just do one thing. I call it the blanket technique. You got to do it all. You got to send an email, you got to send a card, got to stop by, you got to do the text messages, you got to do everything you can. And then go on Facebook and see who they're friends with and see if you can connect it that way. Hey, I seen that Holly said she was going to list her house. I see you're friends with her. Or do you have a personal relationship? Can you connect me? So you got to do the blanket technique because everybody's fighting for listings nowadays. And if you're not going to get it, is it me or is it Bob that's going to knock on the door? So doing that blanket technique works. And then as far as bringing in business, you can't just do one thing. You got to do multiple things. So you got to do the 20 sheet. You got to do the cards. You got to do the email blast. So you have to do it all. So that way it's coming in from all resources, like Anne Marie said. All right. What else we got? Questions, barriers, objections?
I'm interested to know how you guys are getting creative with clients that are selling and also have to buy, and they have that contingency.
They have a house to sell before they buy?
Yeah, they have to sell to buy. So how are you dealing with that contingency?
Well, the hardest part of that is selling the property and getting it under contract and being able to negotiate on the buyer side of not a settlement date within 30 to 60 days. So, hey, we put the house on the market. As you know, it's a seller's market, so we're having trouble finding inventory. So we want to put you under contract. We want to stretch it out to 120 days with the option to make it longer or the option to rent back. Or, of course, the option is we can move it up if we get under contract. This literally just happened to me. I'm selling places 5,400 Windale. And the people that we got it under contract, I said, listen, you guys are the first ones in the door. Here's our conditions. We'll accept the offer. And we're going to put 90 days out there, and we want to move it up if we possibly can. And I want the option on the agreement of sale that if we need to extend, we can extend for another 90 days. So what did that just buy you? That just bought you a really, really ton of time. And nowadays with the market, if you're selling a property, you have way more control than we ever did. It's just a lot of agents are, I want to say, they look at the paycheck, so they want to close it fast. So you just got to be open. And the sellers too. Sellers, they're afraid to list their house because they have nowhere to go. So like, listen, we have control. And if anybody's ever been on a listing appointment with me, I actually have the sellers put their hands up like a steering wheel. You have control. You don't have to settle on your property until you're comfortable in selling your property. So just know that I have your back. So we just list your property and it goes under contract. I want to have conversations or putting in writing that we have the option to extend this. So you don't have to, so you're not going to be homeless. And this happens all the time. I can tell you how many people are rescued in the past couple of years where agents will sell their property, not have this conversation about where they're going or exit strategy, I call it. And it's just another conversation you have to have with the sellers, buyers, and buyer's agent on the other side to make everybody feel comfortable.
This is Christina Latsius. Can I share something about that? So yes. I just sold the house. People they need the money to buy another one. So we got the cash offer closing in 30 days. And then we extended this, that they're going to lease it back for 2 months. So they have 60 days to find a property they're going to be paying cash. So that's another option, which was really interesting because, we found the cash buyer.
Well, that was you negotiating them to stay in the property for a rent option. So that's communication and negotiation. And that's where I don't want to say, the unexperienced agents are afraid to have that conversation. So, agents just, put every option out there and don't be afraid to have conversations to see what the options are. And if you don't know how to explain them or don't know how to bring it up, reach out to somebody that has experience and say, hey, how do I put this on paper, or what's the verbiage, so You know, there's the best thing about it, when you get two good agents, let's just use me and Pat, for example. You get two good agents on a deal, it doesn't matter what comes across the table, we're able to figure it out because we're able to pick the phone up and say, well, here's what's going on. Here's what's going on your side. Okay, this will work for them. This might work for them. Well, okay, well, is it $1,000 that gets us through the deal, or is it a week extra time to get their shit out? We don't know what it is. Like I've had deals where, okay, they had to store their stuff in the garage for 3 weeks. Okay, well, the people that were purchasing the property were okay with that. It's just conversations and having two people that are good working at one goal, which is to get to the settlement table and have a happy transition. You know, the best here, I got into real estate because at the end of the day, I'm celebrating and I'm drinking champagne with somebody and everybody's happy. I mean, it's very rare over the course of how many transactions I had where it's an upset situation. I had one. It was a divorced couple. They weren't talking. They hated each other. Okay. Other than that, you guys got to look at the big picture and pick up the phone and negotiate with the other side that make it a win-win. Don't be one-sided is one thing I want to put out there. There's some agents out there that are just too aggressive and they get in their own way of the transaction. And we've all had one of them in the past. I want to say, you know, a couple years, or if you're new, we all had one of them agents. So don't be afraid to communicate in a very open, I want to say, arena with the agent on the other side, because that's how stuff's going to get done and everybody's going to be happy.
On the same line, I want to add, Jason, you know, through the transaction, there's the negotiations. One of the biggest mistakes that I know I did, new agents do mostly, is they want to win for their clients. Remember, we're about win-win or no deal. It's not about you winning and getting the best deal for your seller or buyer or negotiations. It's a win-win. Everybody needs to come out away happy and win. So we, especially when you're negotiating inspections, you know, the initial, your first response is you want to be the best and show your seller or buyer that you can do it for them. Remember, we're all in it together. Thank you.
I just had a deal fall apart, you know, real quick. And the guy put an offer in, very good offer. And then he tried to negotiate a seller's assist and repairs after the fact. Well, it wound up being $15,000 on a $200,000 deal. I said, I want to say you just shit the bed. You can't ask for an assist and repairs after it was already negotiated what the price of the house was without an assist. You just killed it. And I know what he said. Let's get it under contract. We'll go through the inspection process, and then we'll ask for assist and we'll ask for repair money. Doesn't work like that. 6 months in the business, and he just killed a deal. Lost money on his buyers because they had to go through the inspection, and he made himself look like, you know, somebody that doesn't know how to negotiate a deal. So thanks for bringing that up again, Pat. All right, what's the next subject or question or comment? What do we got? You guys all got it figured out. There's no barriers. There's no objections. Come on.
I know you touched on for sale by owners and how it's, you know, it's tough now, but I feel like I don't even want to waste my time with them because a lot of them think, well, why should I use an agent? You know, it's a seller's market. And, you know, what do you say to that? Like, to
That's
that?
perfect one for this. And I'm actually going to turn it over to Bob because Bob came in my office the other day. So Bob, can everybody hear you? You on mute?
That's all.
I don't know.
Everybody hear me?
Yeah, come on up here. Hopefully you remember. So Bob was in my office the other day. We were shooting the shit about this. So go ahead, Bob. Hopefully he remembers it.
Hey, Holly, when you asked that question, that's exactly what Jay asked me. He said, what am I working on? And I said, for sale by owners. He says, all right, give me your elevator speech, give me your skip. And I gave it to him and he's like, all right, listen, we're not going to use that. We're going to do this. So what it was, instead of asking them about the house that they have, ask them about where they're going and how you can get them there. And I read in between the lines, if they're going to open up to that, there's a possibility that I am going to get that listing, that for sale by owner listing, even though we're not supposed to say for sale by owner.
I could jump in and help. So Holly, so statistically, here's the deal. So I'll use you. Say, Holly, say, thanks for taking my call today. So statistically, 9 out of 10 people move within 11 miles of their property they're selling. So is that the case with you? Are you purchasing in the 11-mile square radius of where you're selling?
No, we're gonna go to Montana.
You're going to go to Montana. So you already been through some for sale by owner scripts before. Okay, that's great. So, well, congratulations on moving to Montana. So the faster you get to Montana, the faster you're going to be, right? I mean, the happier you're going to be, correct?
Yep.
So how's it going with the process of your for sale by owner?
Oh, it's going great. We only had it, on for one day, and I've got a ton of showings, and a couple people, gave me offers that sounded really good on the phone.
Okay, so statistically, do you know in the state of Pennsylvania that 74% of the lawsuits that are come with real estate are involved with for sale by owners?
No, what do you mean? In what way?
For sale by owners has the highest percent of lawsuits with real estate transactions. So during the course of selling your property, there's things like seller's disclosures. There's things that have to be, say, public knowledge when you're selling a house. So do you have these state forms, the seller's disclosure forms to hand to buyers?
Yeah, we already have them. We know about them.
You have any of them? Okay. So it seems like you got it all figured out. So do you need any assistance on selling your house?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, so the for sale by owner in this market, yeah, they're selling.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there is ones out there that don't have that have complications. So, hey, by the way, do you need? So you can offer a resource too. You can say, hey, by the way, during selling your property, you might need somebody. Here's my local area specialist, and send it over to you.
Excuse me. What are you sure you're getting the best offer for your house? Where did you come?
That's the thing. And that's what I wonder if these
That's
people.
what I'm asking you as a for sale by owner.
Yeah, well, I think I am because, it's more than some houses have sold around here. We've been watching the neighborhood values, and I've gotten it for more.
Holly, don't you owe it to yourself to see if you can get the most money for your house and not just what an offer that you get in hand? And an agent may be able to guide you to get you the better price. Have you thought about that?
Yeah, but if you take into account how much I'd be paying for commission, that would take away any gain that you could get me.
So Holly, or Mr. or Mrs. Seller, statistically, National Association of Realtors have proven that selling with a realtor will get you, and I don't remember the numbers, 30% more than if you sell it by yourself. Do you want to throw that money away? Wouldn't it be great to put that extra money in your pocket?
Yeah, that would be great.
You're right. Don't you owe it to yourself to find out?
I don't really feel like going through the hassle of it all. If somebody can just give me a cash offer.
So then you don't, well, you could get a cash offer with a realtor, but then you don't need that extra 30% in your pocket is what you're telling me.
Right. I don't think it's 30%. I thought I saw a statistic that was like 7%, so you could justify it by saying you're going to net more.
No, I did pull it up before, and I don't remember what it is. It's definitely more than 7% because it was a decent amount, maybe 9 or 10%, but
12 to 14.
14%. I don't know. You'd have to go to NAR and pull it up. They have it regularly, but I would know that number.
FSBOs are hard to talk about now because they're slim pickings right now. All right. So what else we got? What else can we help with barriers or objections?
But great scripts, Pat. Great scripts.
All right, what else we got? Who else having some struggles? Where are you struggling at? Because I know right now everybody's struggling as far as, there's no inventory, there's no work, I can't, there's this, there's that. There's a lot of excuses nowadays. Me and Anne-Marie were just talking about this an hour ago. So what is some of the holdback that people are having out there that possibly me and Pat can help with? Ed?
I'm struggling with having enough time in the day.
Well, you have an assistant. You ask your assistant where your time's being spent. That's not dollar producing. So Pat, you know the formula, and anybody that's on here should know the formula. So you take what you made last year and you divide it by 2,200, and that's your hourly rate.
Jason,
okay? So you take your hourly rate.
I'm showing 5 buyers homes this weekend. I'm out of time.
It's not good.
I know. Need a buyer agent.
Buyer's agent. Huh. So it's leverage. I mean, you could hire a buyer's agent. I mean, a buyer's showing assistant is one thing because you can pay them 12 hours an hour plus a small commission if you wanted to. So it's leverage. Time is leverage. If you know how to leverage that, you should. Every one of these agents that are making money should know what their hourly rate is. So you take what you made in the past rolling 12 months, you divide it by 2,200, and there's what you make per hour. And if you're making X amount of dollars per hour, and you think that you can leverage somebody, whether you're paying them $10 an hour or $12 an hour, that's the next thing you should be, let's say, leveraging out, whether it's you're doing your wash or whether it's showing houses. Leverage. Somebody's doing my wash right now in my house. She just texted me. She said,
funny, I had a Zoom call the other day with a few people who are trying to balance, where's the balance? And they're not ready for an admin. You need 24 to 36 transactions, and I'd be pushing closer to 36 transactions for an admin or more. And I said, get a babysitter. It's way cheaper than an admin. An admin's not cheap if you want a talent, but get a babysitter. So.
And even we were just talking about this babysitter. I can't tell you in the past probably couple months how many showings or inspections or whatever that my kids went on. So, everybody wants to use different excuses. Like, Danica Kokoska, she didn't have an excuse when she put her kids in a damn wagon and went up and down the communities, handing out her business card and knocking on doors. So, I mean, I know it's tough right now because we have some, part-time stuff. We have some pandemic stuff going on, but the ones that are going to shine and the ones that are going to are the ones that figure out the word hustle and don't make excuses, whether it's, kids in the car or whether, I don't even know, boyfriends, marriages or whatever. Like you have, what's the bold one? You can have excuses or you can have results. So stop with the whole whining and having these air handcuffs on that everybody's got. Get off with the air handcuffs because nobody's handcuffed to their seat or to their couch. So stop making excuses is the easiest thing I can say as far as people that are whining about there's no business out there because I got 3 listings in one weekend last weekend. All right, what else we got?
Pat, you and I have to talk. You have a leverage problem.
I just want to add that I've been using Danica with my transactions, and she's fabulous.
Yeah, well, we have an in-house transaction coordinator. You'll be getting something in the email very shortly. And I hope everybody, if you're going to use her, use them, you would give her an opportunity. Her name's Lori Vitri. She's dynamite. And so thanks for bringing that up, Steph. But a transaction coordinator can really help your business as well. So thank you.
Yeah, whether it's transaction coordinator or whatever part leverage. So yeah, I mean, Danica's great. I'm sure Vetri will be awesome too. Just, that's a good leverage because, if you don't like doing that part of it, Steph, good stuff to leverage it out. It's definitely worth it. All right, what else we got?
15 more minutes.
Nothing?
Denise, I didn't hear from you yet. What are some barriers?
Man, I thought we'd have a lot more questions than we have answers. All right, well, how about the people in here? What do you got? What's your holdback? What can we help you with?
I don't think, Jason, do you ever meet Susan?
Yeah, we got Susan before.
Okay.
We passed it. Yeah.
My biggest challenge is the pre-qualified buyers out there who are well qualified and want to move but are not forced to move, and are looking at the market saying, should I wait? Or I don't want to get involved in that multiple offer situation.
Here's something also. So I just help somebody find a property that they're buyers and they know where they want to live. So there's so many agents out there that are waiting for properties to come on the market. They're waiting for it to hit the MLS. Bob, where do you want to live?
Aston.
Where in Aston? Because Aston's big.
Green Ridge.
Green Ridge. Okay. So that Green Ridge price point is basically anywhere between probably 180 to 225. What's your price point? 225. Okay, so that's the bigger houses that are on probably the west side of Valley Brook Road or whatever it is. Okay, so if I could hit that community, okay, because it's only 4 blocks on the one side and the other side's Crystal where there's no basements and smaller houses. If I get a house to come up on that Green Street, and there's a couple other streets there, if I get somebody to put their hand up, you'll buy one of them houses? Okay, perfect. So there's only 4 streets in that Green Ridge right there that have decent houses that me and Bob just talked about. If he tells me where he wants to live, how easy is it for me to go after that community? It's pretty simple. I can go on Facebook, Green Ridge, Aston, and there's a page just for Green Ridge part of Aston. Or I go to the rec club that's right there at Green Ridge and say, hey, do you know anybody selling in the community? Okay. Or I've sold quite a few houses in Green Ridge. I hit them past clients up. Do you know anybody that's selling in your community or any neighbors? So if you tell me where you want to live, you know, the buyer things out there, everybody's saying there's no inventory, I can't find nothing. You know, if Pat tells me I want to live at Brandywine and Thornbury, and I go on Brandywine and Thornbury page and say, hey, anybody know it's going to be listing a property? Because this happened yesterday. I know somebody that's selling a townhouse from this post. Hey, anybody that's selling a townhouse, I have a buyer. And somebody prompted, boom, I'm going to be selling within the next 3 months. Took professional photos yesterday. We're waiting to find something. Okay. So there's community. If you could sugar pot them, like I found a hilltop listing for somebody. Went on, you guys probably seen it. Behind the scenes and agent to agent Delco. I have a client looking for a 1-bedroom hilltop. And one of the agents popped up. Hey, I have something. It's her relative that's selling a property. I'm probably going to lock that deal up. So when you have buyers that are, you know, say restraint because they don't want to sell because they can't find something, where are they going? Tell them to sugar pot where they want to go and hit that community up.
That's part of my problem. Most of these buyers kind of multiple counties.
That's one of the biggest issues. But I'll go anywhere in Delco. I'll spend $350. That doesn't. You guys see the post on social media. All these agents are go. I have buyer looking in Delco, any school district, as long as it's under $350. Nobody's responding to that. Now, if they were specific and say, hey, I got somebody that wants to live in Eddystone only for up to $200, you'll probably have 5 comments. So when you have buyers, I would say qualify them better. How soon they can move? What's their purchase look like as far as cash or loan? Where's the community? You know, even if it's 2 or 3 different communities, that's way easier than find me something in Garnet Valley.
And I think too, if you know their price and their taxes, you can help them narrow it down because that's not going to go anywhere.
Yes.
You know, if you're $350 and you need taxes around $5,500, you're not going to Wallingford. So we can eliminate that. You're not going to Garnet Valley. We can eliminate that. You know, you know where you can go? I might be able to find that for you in well, not even Middletown. $350 right now is going to be hard anywhere. But you know what I'm saying? So when you know their price and their taxes, you can then help them know what area they're going to go to.
If you agents are struggling to find houses for your buyers, I can guarantee you haven't qualified them better. I mean, as good as you should to find the community that they want to live in. Because if you help them narrow down where they want to live at and get a little bit, you know, I call it sugar pot, and get a little bit closer in your sugar pot, you could probably find somebody that's putting their hand up to sell way faster than being broad search out there.
Well, what if they truly don't care? They just want to get into a house and it doesn't matter where it is.
But you see, this is where I come in as a really good agent. Holly, that doesn't work for me. I'm sorry, Holly. I understand you want to live anywhere in Delaware County. So let's get real with you, because I want you to be very, very happy with where you want to live at. Okay. So let's talk about you're talking about school, all right? Is that important to you, academics? Do your kids have any special needs?
I don't have kids at school. Isn't important to me.
Okay. Do you need to be in a community to where you have friends that they can go over to each other's houses, or are you okay on a street where it's not like a community type atmosphere?
What do you mean?
So it's like I live in a community. The kids always play with each other. They go out in the cul-de-sac. So I know, but I'm asking qualifying questions. Or are you okay with like I want to say like a community where it's spread out and the kids don't play with each other?
I could do both. I could do both because we just really need to get into a house.
Okay, so what are some of your hobbies, Holly? Do you like accessibility, like downtown, like media has walkability? Do you like outdoor events like Brandywine River where you're going to go kayaking? Do you like going to like the wine events. Like I live out in Chester County, I like going to the wineries and stuff like that. I love shopping. I have shopping near me. So I want to be close to that. So tell me what some of your hobbies are.
Well, I'd like to be able to walk to things because I don't drive, and I'd like to be able to be close to, some parks or trails or something like that.
Okay, so we just narrowed you down to basically Westchester, Media. Swarthmore really doesn't have a really good downtown district, but I would consider it. Okay,
Well, I don't need to be in a walkable town. I just need to be somewhere that's pretty close to public transportation.
Okay. Do you need off-street parking? Do you have multiple cars?
Yeah, I do want to well, I don't need it, but that would be a plus.
Okay. So asking the more qualifying questions is going to help you figure out what type of house and community, because like when you're sending somebody out and you're looking at 6 or 7 houses, that's when you start learning these questions you should be asking ahead of time. Well, I don't really like to split driveway. Okay, so why are we looking at the next 2 houses that have shared driveways then? So asking these qualifying questions that's going to make the ideal home for them is going to narrow down and help you figure out, because I know most of the communities in Delaware County because I lived here for so long and sold a ton of houses. So when I start asking these questions, do you need a private driveway? Do you need off-street parking? Okay, do you want to be able to have to put a pool in the backyard? Do you need close to public transportation? Like, what are your negatives? What are your positives? Like going through all these questions as a buyer's agent is really going to help you narrow down. Because I'm going to say at the end of the day, if I'm doing my questions, at the end of the day, I'm saying, listen, here's your 2 communities that's going to work for you. Now I got to find a house in them 2 communities. When you're looking as big as you're looking for some of these buyers, you could be looking for months. If you help qualify these questions a little better, you'll know what community is going to work better for them. And a lot of agents don't ask as many questions as that. I want to know what your hobbies are. I want to know what you and your husband want to do on the weekends. You laugh, but that helps me qualify a buyer way faster than the average agent, because I'll know exactly what's going to make you happy for 5 years rather than say, you know what, we should have got a house in the community. We should have got a house closer to the parks, or we should have got a house that had off-street parking. So when our kids' friends come over, we're not getting bitched at by the neighbors and getting complaints because there's no parking. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Thank you.
If you don't know the questions, I mean, you could download them questions. You could ask me what questions I ask, but asking a lot more questions to your buyers is really going to make a light bulb go off. Because like we can have a conversation. I'll go, listen, this is the only community. So if I find a house in this community, you would buy it. And then I just put a post on Facebook and somebody goes, somebody's selling. So ask way more questions than we're asking. It helps you qualify that buyer better.
And sometimes you're helping the buyer figure out exactly really what they're looking for. They don't take the time sometimes to sit down and think about it. They're thinking about it as they're looking at houses and going, no, this isn't it. No, we don't want this. They should really have an idea. In today's market, we don't have the luxury of that, right? So in today's market, they have to, and that's the script I'd be using. I'd say, Holly, in today's market, we have to be laser focused on what you're looking for, because there's 100 buyers for every house out there. And I want to make sure I got you in the best position to get the house you want to get. So I have some questions I want to ask you. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, and here's a question I know Pat asked probably every one of her buyers that are buying on, I want to say, west side of 452. Do you care if it's well water or public water? Right? Right, Pat, do you ask that question? Guess what that just did? That just eliminated a lot of houses you're possibly going to be showing the guy on Saturday because he don't want well water. Right? So well water, do you want public? Are you okay with septic? You know how many people moving from the city, they hear horror stories about septic, are like, no, I'm not buying septic. Now you just eliminated a lot of communities. Now you just eliminated a lot of the houses that are spread out. Now you got to put them in the community because that's where the sewer systems are and that's where the infrastructure is at. So asking them questions, sometimes it's components. Holly, are you okay with electric heat? You said you want a 3,400 square foot house. You okay with electric heat? No, because it's going to be $1,100 a month electric bill in the wintertime. So them qualifying questions just eliminated a lot of houses that possibly can come up. Now I know better off. I know what communities have electric heat. I know what communities have low voltage wiring. There's 2 communities in Media that still have low voltage wiring. So If somebody says, hey, I want to see this house. Hey, by the way, it's got low voltage wiring. If it hasn't been converted over, it's going to cost you $7,000. I know. I don't want it. So there's a lot more questions besides what's your price point, how many bedrooms and how many bathrooms you want. And that's the 3 average questions that the average realtor asks you. What can you afford? How many bedrooms and how many bathrooms you want? And then you go out on a Saturday there and start showing houses and like, I don't want a rancher. Okay, I didn't know that until now. Now you just wasted showing houses because you didn't ask enough qualifying questions. So some people like ranchers. How many people have you heard have showed houses they hate split levels? Everybody on this call has had somebody go, I don't want a split level before in the past, right? So what did that just eliminate a lot of the townships in Aston, right? Now when they say I want to go in whatever that development is, I can't think of it right now. Every one of them is a split. Does that make sense? All right, what else we got? Got a couple more minutes. Any ahas?
How about real quick, how are you handling working with buyers that are FHA? And how are you handling those conversations with your clients to make them understand, their financing compared to others?
You're talking about the clients, or you're talking about the sell side that we're committing, we're sending offers on?
Both. If you have anything to add to that, you can't help if people have to buy FHA right now.
Well, so one of the best things about my reputation on the street as far as an agent is I make a lot of things happen. So if I have a buyer that is an FHA buyer, the agent on the other side knows that if something comes up that, quote unquote, we're going to take care of it. And so that conversation can happen with your buyer. Say, listen, you're putting an FHA offer in. There's some, I won't say hindrance, but there's some negativity versus FHA versus conventional. So the sellers might have to do some repairs. I see chipping paint, so that's going to be an issue. So they're not going to want to do that. If it's something simple, you can say, you might have to put your hand in the pot to buy smoke detectors or carbon monoxide detectors, because we might lose the offer for FHA. FHA says that the buyers are not allowed to put any money out, but I can't tell you how many times that we received FHA offers and said, listen, my seller will commit to selling the property to you, but he's not doing any repairs. So you better have a handyman on speed dial to take care of any issues that can come up for your loan.
So I tried to force an FHA deal to go through. We offered almost 20,000 over everything, and I just couldn't get the other agent to feel comfortable enough. Especially it was like an estate sale or something like that. So we paid the transfer tax. We were willing to put everything in there. She didn't even respond back.
That's where experience and camaraderie is going to come down the pike. If you remember this last time I was doing a masterminds, I got that property in Glen Mills. We had 9 offers. I had a home sale and settlement contingency, and we beat out cash offers. Okay, and that came down to the agent having trust in me. So, good conversation with the agent on the other side. Listen, anything comes up as far as the FHA, I want to be able to have the ability to help out, so your sellers don't think it's a hindrance. So, it's sucks to say that, but that's the reality of today. Because I know that I've actually sent my handyman out there to resolve FHA loan issues to make the deals go through. And as well as a lot of agents don't know this, but FHA, if they require something to be done for the loan, it also can be put in escrow. So a lot of sellers agents, when you're putting FHA offers in there, say, hey, by the way, we can always get the lender to escrow. It's just role play here. The GFCIs that are not installed in the bathroom, or the sump pump that needs to be repaired. We can always escrow to $2,000 and have it done after the fact. That way it does not affect your seller, and your seller will not have to do that. A lot of agents don't know that, and even lenders don't know that FHA will allow you to escrow for things that have to be resolved. They usually give you 10 days or whatever to resolve it after it closes. Does everybody know that?
No, I didn't know. No.
Okay.
I always get, you lender, what is going on.
So even if you're buying a house that's as is, that has the water off or electric off, okay, you can get the lender to have underwriting agree that we'll have the water and electric turned on after closing within 10 days.
Is there certain lenders out there, or will all FHA lenders do that?
Most FHA and lenders will do it, but the problem is so many lenders are, I don't want to say they're unexperienced, but it just comes with experience that they have to ask, hey, by the way, the skylight was broken at this 123 Main Street. Okay, the sellers are not going to fix it, so what do we do? Okay, so you put $1,000 in escrow, and the skylight will be repaired within X amount of days after closing. FHA appraiser will come back out, and everything's happy. Okay, you know, I've closed a lot of real estate transactions in a short amount of time, and when I tell you, it comes, you know, this business is all practice, no theory. So you got to get out there and get your feet wet to learn this, and I've learned it 10 different ways, sideways, and this is stuff a lot of lenders and agents don't know. So, and then working with different lenders, asking the lenders of what their overlays are, what their restrictions are, so you have some knowledge ahead of time of what your capabilities are. So FHA, yeah, you can escrow for repairs. It does not need to be done before closing, and it doesn't need to be done to acquire the loan. It can be escrowed, but you have to ask, and you have to tell the agents and the people on the other side, vice versa, whether it's buyers, sellers, whatever, buyers, sellers, or buyers, agents, sellers, whatever. So you have to communicate and ask the questions and make them feel comfortable. That makes sense? All right, give me some ahas before we go, because I know you just learned a couple things. Hello?
Holly. Holly, what's an aha? You're on mute.
I really want to get that statistic on lawsuits that result out of for sale by owners. I'd like to have that handy to reference. And
Go on our National Association of Realtors website, and they have all the statistics on there. So I don't know if it's NAR.com, and you can go on, they have a statistics tab, you can go on, and it'll have all those statistics that you're looking for.
Yeah, that's going to be good to have. And then
keep in mind that's national.
Okay. And I'm going to also learn more about the FHA, the ability to escrow. That's interesting too.
Yeah,
so,
I get that. Probably happened, I don't know, probably 3 times in the past, probably 24 months. Definitely. Georgie Blythe was one of the first ones that pops to mind, because there was holes in the property. Somebody kicked a hole in the wall, in the ceiling, and we just escrowed money for it and wrapped it up. We didn't have to do a 2 or 3K. We didn't have to do anything crazy. We just said, here's what it's going to cost. Here's the invoice or quote. Here's the money.
Bob, what was your aha?
I got a couple. If I can mention, I won't steal anybody's. The golden letter.
Golden letter?
Was one in the business to business.
We can't hear.
He said the business to business, the golden letter was one of his ahas, and then the business to business reciprocating referrals back and forth.
Awesome. How about you, Suzanne?
I wasn't aware of send-out cards.
Well, do you like to send out? I don't know if AM cards count. Or AM cards, yeah, they're both good. We use AM cards. You can get a discount for Keller Williams. So I like them, and you can do the picture thing.
I didn't know AM cards did. You have to send me that link.
Yeah. AM.
Cool.
AMCAR. Yeah.
All right, Steph, you have anything? I got to run to a showing at 1:30. What do you got? One more. Give me one or two more.
Thanks for your time, Giz. I appreciate it. Good to know that you're pushing FHA deals through that way. I'm trying to as well, but it helps to know other people are. And obviously the rent back is really huge and helpful for some of my deals. So thank you guys.
Cool.
Awesome stuff. Okay. One more?
Anybody else? One more? How about new? Right. Thank you, guys.